Hello there, welcome back to Celtic World Order podcast. As always, I'm Stevo. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome you back to the channel once again for another wee video. And as you can see, I'm joined by some familiar faces, the OGs of the podcast up top, my bearded brother and spectacled brother, looking a bit intelligent. It is Paddy boy. And then, of course, I've got the man with the ear cans on down below. It is Joe Donnelly. Guys, it's good to have both you back on screen with you. I'm still in the temporary setup from my sick recovery bed, Charles Green style, but we don't stop here at Celtic World Order. Guys, how have you been over this Sunsplit in the Trees weekend? It's been absolutely belter, Paddy.
Yeah, that's been absolutely fantastic. Loads of time spent with the family. I was away seeing Thomas the Tank Engine a day of all people. That was absolutely brilliant. Wee man loved it. Had a cracking day. Just home and then back to doing what we do best, Steve, and talking about Celtic. So yeah, good weekend all round.
Absolutely. Yourself, Joe, it's been a while since you've been on. Is it good to be back in the fold? Are you chomping at the bit to talk about Celtic, good, bad and indifferent?
Absolutely, mate. There's nothing else better that I enjoy. But all weekend, in that horribly hot weather, unfortunately, I've been out digging up my garden to pieces. So I'm a hot and heavy mess, unfortunately, the entire weekend, and sweating my pan in. But no, it's been good. I'm just glad to be back here, as I say, and on the relaxed side of things. I like this. I prefer this. I'll just do this as my job now, right?
That's it, mate. Listen, see if this was paying us money, I'd happily have you on here permanently.
I'll sit here every day if I have to.
I'd pay your wages if I could. But anyway, let's crack on. And we just welcome back to the channel to everyone. As we say all the time, if you're a continued subscriber, thank you very much. It's been nice we uplift again the numbers there as we chug on towards that 2,000. We want to try and get over that line by the time the new season comes. So if you like what you're seeing here, give it a thumbs up, give it a subscribe. Costs you absolutely nothing to do that. I'll give it a thumbs up, share it, tell your friends, tell your friends. If you want to help out, support the channel, you can. The member section, it's basically a donation, $1.99 a month. It helps put everything together. And some people say, well, what does that do? Well, it helps pay for the platform. We want to start upgrading some of our equipment. We've got Paddy a new microphone. We'll get Joe one sitting, waiting to get here. We want to get ones out to the other guys. So that kind of donations, it all goes towards that. And of course, we'd like to also look at doing some more giveaways with yourselves. Completely optional. We appreciate your support though. Get us on our social medias, @CWPod1888. We're on TikTok, on Spotify, on Blue Sky. You know the score by now. So anyway, guys, let's get down to business now. As you'll see from the tagline, and by the way, just get this out right now. This is a pre-recorded episode, so if you are watching this as it goes out and you're making comments, we might not necessarily be there to reply to them. So just bear that in mind. But if you leave your comments, your thoughts on the content below, we always look at those and we like to reply back. So just bear that in mind. As you can see, the tagline, managed decline. The colour of Celtic's money is good. It's time to spend it. Now, we're in that pre-season, guys, aren't we? Where it's always a wee bit slow. We always surmise about what's going to happen. We always have great ambitions of what's going to happen. We're going to get tooled up for Europe. We're going to give the manager millions upon millions. Now, I know we spent about 30 odd last year, but as we know, Celtic bring in more than they spend. That might be a good thing, it might be a bad thing. We'll talk about it. But yes, things have been a wee bit underwhelming, and I think that the uncertainties around the manager, and I think the uncertainties around about who's going to be fit, what quality we're going to have by the time the league kicks off, more importantly, the Champions League qualifier comes around, that is starting to worry folk. Is it justified? Well, let's chew it over and talk about it. But we'll kick off ever so briefly. We'll talk about that game against Australia. And during the week there, it wasn't exactly a classic. It was every bit the bounce match. Some of the reaction, guys, Paddy, I know that you watched it. I watched it myself. Joe, I know you flitted in and out because of your hard work there. But, Paddy, is the reaction to the score in this game, is it justified or is it complete overreaction? Is it fans going mental over nothing?
Yes and no. You can see it for both sides. To be honest, it was a training exercise. That's all it really was. There was nobody out there flying into tackles and doing the extra. I thought a few of the players, a few of should we call them starters? Your Luke McCowan, your
well, I'll bring this up now whilst you're talking.
Guys like that. Yeah. So there's your starting side, obviously. I was looking forward to seeing Marco Tilio in there. I was looking forward to seeing young Osmond as well. I thought Kieran Tierney back in the hoops. I thought, excellent, that's quite good. So let's see how it goes. To be honest, Kieran didn't really do much. He was there for a run out. Telio, I wasn't impressed at all. Didn't really this guy won Player of the Year in Australia last year or something, didn't he? So I was expecting a little bit more. I thought McCowan played really well. Great eye for a pass, as we know. Put the ball through for Hatate to score his goal as well. Nice enough finish. But other than that, mate, there wasn't really anything. Like the defence, it was hideous. I mean, you're getting broke down by a very, very poor. I don't know where they are in the league. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, they're a pub team basically. We should be demolishing teams like that.
They're a very, very young team as well, which is the frightening thing. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's good that you brought that in, Joe. I think that's what's worrying folk. Just whilst you mentioned that, Astray are a team who are defunct like Rangers, and they've been back in existence for about 5 years now.
Yeah.
And they've barely scraped out the relegation, I believe, the past 2 seasons now. Just before you carry on there, Joe, looking at that team, starting lineup, take it as you find it. You could probably argue that round about 8, maybe 9 of those guys are first team. They're either starters or on the bench.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, well, that for me is the frightening thing. I get what people are saying, it's a training exercise, it's just to get the legs under them a bit. But I'd still like to see, like anyone, I'd like to see a bit of enthusiasm about it as well. It is the warm-up to your season. So if you're going to come out the gates and just run yourself ragged, do it properly. You know, don't waste time chasing down the empty spaces, which is what I found from it as well. That there was just a lot of miscommunication within the team, which is understandable with some of the new boys. But then, like that, McGregor, McCowan, Hatate, and everything, yes, they linked up okay, but I still don't think any of it was groundbreaking or something that I was like, oh, I'd like to see more of that this season. There was nothing that set the world on fire, and it just felt like a very B team. But even your B team should be coming out against these guys and demolishing them. We're champions here.
I think kind of what you're getting at there as well. They looked a bit lethargic, and Peter Grant touched on it when he was talking in the commentary. And Peter said, "Well, these guys are doing double training sessions every day, so they're coming into this game and they're probably tired." Do you know what I mean? So obviously we're watching a game and we're thinking, "Oh, Celtic will take 10 off of them. We'll hammer this mob." But the boys have been training and training hard and trying to get this mentality that Brendan always goes on about, and try to get their fitness back up to scratch for going into the start of the season and the upcoming Champions League game as well. So, yes, there might have been a bit of lack of fitness in there. They're only playing 45 minutes. He's pretty much changing the full squad for the second half as well. So, I think that might have had something to do with it. I think the tiredness was in the legs, and you did see that at most points, especially towards the end of the half.
Yeah. Well, the guys are, let's say, fresh off the beach, so to speak, if you will. They're not long back, and we've got to give allowances. I think we've got to stay grounded. I think, though, the biggest concern that a lot of people seem to be taking, certainly when I had a wee eye on it and went, look at actually the team, because that was the starting 11 there. You can see the bench briefly, and there's the team that ran out in the second half again. So between the first half and the second half, you're probably talking, give or take both, there's roughly about 8 guys, give or take, that you would say are either first team or they're on the bench. Now, I know these guys have got to go up to speed, but again, I don't know where Astray are in their pre-season, how far ahead they are, how far they aren't. But again, you would probably imagine they're not too far off what us. I'm sure you will correct me wrong if that's not the case. But I can understand why folk are a wee bit disappointed, maybe a wee bit concerned. But for me, the biggest thing is looking at the squad. Now, I know you take away a lot of young guys and stuff, but the squad still looks really thin. There's still those massive holes that need filled. And again, this is where people are starting to get worried, isn't it, Joe? Because what I say all the time, I'll ask you the question, what are we expecting? Are we expecting too much than what we've already got? Duan, Nigran, Tierney, Osmond, are we expecting a lot more? Are we right? Are we entitled to expect more by this point?
There's some that I do expect a lot more from, and some that I don't, and I think that'll be the case for a lot of people. I'm really interested to see a bit more time under Inamura. just to see how well he gels into the centre back position. I really am quite interested in that. But
I thought he looked tight again, by the way.
I didn't think he set the world on fire, but I wasn't worried about him either. I think he just kind of, he played his part, played his role pretty well. Tierney, I am worried about.
I think that's legs,
everyone will be. And I think everyone will be because we know his fitness level isn't there as of yet. The hopes are there, obviously, that it is there for the season and the Champions League qualifiers, especially because he knows how the players play as well. So he's got good experience in that role. So yeah, there's ups and downs for everyone for me in the squad. But yeah, I don't expect Osman to come out and be scoring 2 or 3 goals, within the first 4 games, 5 games, or anything like that. And likewise, it is his job.
It's his job.
Aye, thanks, Kenny. It is his job, 100%. But he's a young fella coming into Scotland that he's never ever played in and never even had a taste of either. So it'll be interesting to see, but I don't think he's going to set the world on fire either.
Well, 2 guys that did score were, of course, Paddy's favourite. It's Darwin boy, Rio Tati. He's
good on him. It was great to see him on the score sheet.
It was a surprise, wasn't it? He was fit all along. There we go. We didn't really hear too much, did we? And he pops up. Good to see him on the park. Good to see him on the score sheet. And of course, Adam Ida scores as well. He scores a nice wee poacher's goal, doesn't he? He scores a wee attacking run. What did we say? Broken record. That's the position he should be in.
100%. He needs to just be sitting there waiting for it to come, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. Everyone else will get it to you. Just sit there. Don't move. Don't try and be smart about it.
Yeah.
Wrap it. Easy.
On Adam Ida's goal as well, though, you've got to look at the impact that Nigrin had with that. When he cuts inside and then puts the ball across, Nicholas Kuhn would have drove for the byline there and put it across with a bit of pace, and it would have missed Ida out. Nigrin's actually looked for the pass, probably because he doesn't have the pace to get past.
He would have cut in and wanted a shot.
Yeah, of course, Kuhn would have had a dig. He probably scored it, let's be honest, but yeah. No, the difference there was really good, and I'm quite happy with the way Benjamin Nigrin's playing. He's not as fast as Kuhn, but I like him on the ball. He's comfortable. He looks assured, and he looks like he's got a decent delivery on him as well. Possibly somebody that's going to start taking free kicks for us as well, and I'd like to see that. I thought Arne Engels had a bit of a poor game. Again, this guy, I've said, he is world class. I've said it.
He's starting early. He's starting early this season.
We said he needs a good pre-season under him. This is what we've been talking about. Once he gets a good pre-season under him, and then go out there and he can do a wee bit, and we can start to see the real Arne Engels. Well, listen, I'm holding my breath the same as every other Celtic fan. You commented about it there, Stevo, and said about Celtic spending the best part of 28 million on 3 players that we needed. That was Adam Ida, Arne Engels and Trusty. Now, if you look at the 3 positions, you could probably say that we still need another striker. We still need somebody in the midfield, and we still need another centre-half.
Well, the manager said that. The manager laid mention to the fact that we've lost Kyogo, never truly replaced him. We've now lost Nicholas Kuhn. He says that's a lot of goals missing from that team that we need to replace. It's starting to sound a wee bit like he's, I wouldn't say begging, but he's continually stating the obvious, isn't it? So when's it coming? That's why people are getting unrest on it.
He's firing it at the board 100% because I think they've said, right, okay, you can have 30 million to play about with, don't go over that or else. Exactly. So you're going, don't go over that or else. No, give me the money. It's there.
The thing is, the cheapest boy that we've bought, Joe, the cheapest boy that we've bought this season has been Inamura. And he's probably been the best that I've seen so far. Out of everybody.
Keep the puddle dry. Hold on. But I will say this, guys, to both of you. There's a lot of unrest about the lack thereof spending. Now, we spoke about Benjamin Nigrin, and that says, don't take the price tag as cheap him out. That was shrewd. That was grabbing a deal. You could probably also argue the toss about Osmond as grabbing a deal and not being tight. Now, different scenario. Tierney is a world-class player. Bona fide, make no bones about it. He comes in, he makes us stronger. He is the level that we are wanting. Now, alternative universe, Celtic had bought Tierney for 7 million. They had spent 5.5 on Nygren. They had spent 1.5 on Inamura. And they had spent, I don't know, give or take, 1.5 million on Osmond. Does that still satisfy the masses? Does that make the narrative any better? Or does you still look at it and say, yes, you spent money, but the squad aren't notably any better? We're still probably arguably worse off than we were last season. Is that a fair assessment, Joe?
You look at positions. You look at the positions that we are lacking, and Brendan's brought it up. We do need a striker. We need somebody who's going to go in there and be our number 9, our Adamida. Somebody that's going to go in there and score you goals, because Adamida doesn't fill me with confidence. Yeah, he got 20 goals last season, but if we're going into our Champions League games in our league season with Adamida starting as your number 1 striker, that doesn't fill me with the confidence, say, Celtic going to win this league and win a domestic treble and do well in the Champions League. Because for me, yes, he's done okay, but that's it. I want somebody in there who I can go, yeah, it's all right, we'll get a goal out of him, like we did when Dyson was through the middle. And I don't think that's going to happen, because obviously Jota is still out for a little bit. So Dyson's going to be your left winger.
The next year, Mai just confirmed it'll be next year, 2026.
Wow, so then that's Dyson Maeda not playing through the middle, in my opinion. Dyson Maeda is going to be your left winger every single game. So you do need that striker through the middle. You're going to need a big striker to come in.
Which is it's shocking at the end of the day. We said that as well last time. We've said Maeda should be playing through the middle. He should be the number 1 striker, no matter what. Either number 2 and get a new left winger. It's as simple as that. And you'd spend way less money in doing so as well, rather than trying to get a striker who's worth an absolute fortune, because that's the desperation that we're going to end up in. So yeah, I totally agree with you, Paddy.
But Joe, to jump back onto the point put across, if we'd spent those hypothetical amounts that I gave you on the players we've already got in, does that change what people are thinking? Does that make people happy and go, well, we're spending money? Because me personally speaking, I would look at it and say, do you know what, yeah, that's good, but bar the 2 guys that, as I said, my hypotheticals, that the worked out you'd spent 12 million on or thereabouts on Nygren and Tierney, I'm like, yeah, that's brilliant, but we are still well behind on where we are. And I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying as well, but put Maeda through the middle. Yeah, I think he should be, but I don't think he should avoid us from going and getting another good striker. Do you think have we got this as fans, if we get this all wrong in terms of Celtic are doing well at this moment in time and the signings will come, or have we justified by the fear that we've had season after season of waiting to the last minute, waiting to see if we qualify for Europe?
Well, I think we're totally justified in it, because that's what it feels like. We're going, we'll no qualify for Europe, so we'll keep the money then out, and then we'll hold off, and then next season we'll do. And you can't just do that to both the fans and the squad themselves as well. If they're expecting someone else who's going to come in that's at the same level as them, that they know they can rely on, maybe even a player that 1 or 2 of them have played with before as well, then they need that kind of stability within the team as well. If we had spent that hypothetical money to get onto your point, again, I wouldn't be any happier or sadder about it, because although we've spent the money, it's not about how you spend the money. It's not about how much money you spend. It's about how you spend the money. And it comes to me, you know, you can be penny pinching it to an extent, but if you've got 80 million sitting there and you need to spend 10 million, just suck it up and spend it, because you're going to have to get the best out of the team, get the best out of the squad, and make sure that we carry it forward into the Champions League and further as well. So why can we not be in the qualifiers? Why can we not qualify a lot higher, take some points up the road, and take some more money up the road as well, where it puts us in yet again a better position for next season?
Joe, I feel like agreeing. This is the thing. This is what we keep on talking about. I want to move on to another topic, but, well, I say another topic, something different. I'm going to try something different today with you guys and viewers out there, so stay tuned. We'll be cracking on that in a second. But no, I feel like I agree with what you're saying here. the money is the biggest problem. Is this goes back to a video, one of the first videos that we done on the channel here, which was around about Celtic's transfer policy, which was check out if you've not done it, because the principles remain the same, even though the names and the seasons are different. It was the smoke and mirrors, the deception of Celtic's transfer business. That was a video I done where I deep dived and I profiled previous seasons. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, not saying by any stretch that the way Celtic are ran is impeccable as a business. As a footballing organisation, completely different. There's a lot to be left desired. And the thing here is that we have brought in so much money from last season's sales. We have brought in money from peripheral sales, guys going out on loan, reducing the wage bill, even add-ons like your Frimpong money and the likes. There's a lot of money coming in. There's not a lot of money going out. And that's the biggest problem that fans have had from time and time again, is that Celtic's net spend is always poor. It is always more in the bank than going out the way. Now, I'm not saying every single season Celtic should be spending 40 odd million pound, right? Or spending more than comes in every single season. I'm not suggesting that is the case, but wouldn't it be nice to go and do it every now and then and make a push? Because if you do it one season, you can have a quieter season the next. And the next season, you do another wee push. Because remember, we're normally getting about 2.5, a big push 3 years out of guys. Sometimes it's lesser, but you just recycle and you refresh and you change things up. Now, there's an article around this that if you haven't read it today, I am going to read it to you. I know that seems strange. I'm going to spend story time here with Stevo, but if you've not checked out this article, I suggest you go and do it, because it hits on the head every single thing here that we have been sitting talking about, and I want to bring it up just here, just for reference. It is by the Celtic blog. Those guys do some fantastic work, and if you haven't checked out this article, go and get it. Here it is. The board has managed decline. That they've mastered managed decline, and I am going to read it here right now, because I think it is a article that every single Celtic fan should hear and should read. And I'm aware that some people don't follow these pages, they won't see it. We're on here to talk about topical matters. This is one that's definitely kicked the wasp's nest, so to speak, and some of the reactions have been fantastic. People are saying it's moaning, it's negativity, it's typical. There's other people that are being accused of being happy clappers, so on and so forth. I'll read it over. I'll try my best to be as quick as I can. I'll try my best not to stumble over my words. And then, guys, I want you to give me your thoughts on it. I personally thought it was an excellent article. And as I says, here we go. I will try my best. We'll try and read this on, and I'll reduce you guys down the bottom, and we'll crack on, shall we? So, it starts. There's a phrase that sums up the state of Celtic Football Club right now, and it isn't in transition. It's managed decline. That's the brutal reality of where we are. And the worst part is that it's not an accident, not a misstep, not unfortunate consequence of bad luck. It's strategy. It's a choice. Managed decline is what happens when those in charge stop trying to build something and instead put all their energy into protecting what they already have. It's about preserving structures and not strengthening them. It's about surviving, not thriving. It's the very definition of what our board has done to their club for several years. The first is austerity, masquerading as realism. We just have to be pragmatic about what we can afford. Translation: we're not even going to try anymore. Buy low, sell high, and hope that we can keep winning as we downsize. Another hallmark is the emphasis on symbols of forward thinking rather than actually doing it. That sometimes manifests in shiny new projects that barely disguise the rot. The likes of the new training centre for the women in B-side. Bravo! But the B team plays in the Lowland League, and the women's team, fourth in budget in Scotland, has been gutted over the summer, losing 10 players with nothing coming in. And just on that point, I believe that was one of the reasons why Fran Alonso left as well.
Yeah.
It's there in its leadership. It's a leadership that listens but does nothing. Listening tours, consultations, engagement forums, all part of managing the mood, not material conditions. Fans are allowed to ask the manager softball questions. Their idea of putting an executive in front of them to actually articulate a plan is a non-starter, because there is no plan. Another red flag: when a regime punishes the language of ambition. Anyone talking about growth, about challenging the status quo, is told they don't understand how football works. Such ideas are branded as naive, disruptive, unrealistic. Managed decline demands that everyone lower their expectations. It rewards cynicism and punishes vision. Let's call it what it is. We are a club being held back by the very people whose job is to move us forward. There is no evidence that they can or want to. There was a time when we at least pretended to chase growth. We talked about being best in class. How many times have you heard that, guys? Best in class. Tisdale was coming in best in class. Yep, it goes as a merry-go-round, and we keep on going on, and it keeps on going round. Back to the article. We talked about added quality every year. We talked about belonging at the top table of Europe. We had a plan, or we said we did, to grow our standing, expand our revenues, develop our global reach. We looked beyond Scotland and imagined what Celtic might become in 10 or 20 years. I remember that. We just didn't aim to be the best in the country. We said we aimed to be the best we could possibly be, full stop. But that time is long gone, and we're no longer even pretending to believe in those things. What's replaced them is a philosophy that puts hoarding cash reserves above reaching for the next rung on the ladder. Risk aversion over ambition, internal control above footballing success. We are not trying to build a better Celtic anymore. We are become a club that settles for its place, one that no longer dreams of being more. I certainly think us fans do. That's not in denial here. That's not in doubt. I think it's about that board, and we'll go on to that at the end of this. We're nearing it. The board sees bigger clubs and leagues pulling away, and instead of rising to challenge, they surrender to what they believe is inevitable. Years of success as a dominant force in Scotland have convinced them they are never wrong. Getting them to change course seems almost impossible. And then the cruelty of managed decline is that it's camouflaged by success. You can win all the trophies you want whilst going backwards, and I think we would all agree that we have had phenomenal domestic success, unheard of, but have we really kicked on to take ourselves to more than just the big fish in the small pond? The Roman army was the greatest military force on earth. As an empire crumbled, but society around it became decadent, self-satisfied and flabby. If that sounds familiar, it should. Look at our directors. Can't disagree with that. It looks like success on the surface, but underneath you can see the rot. Managers are asked to do more with less. A squad getting thinner, not stronger. A team that flatters to deceive when tested against real opposition. And meanwhile, transfer fees, wages are all rising across Europe, while Celtic decides to swim in the opposite direction. What are they talking about there? Well, we'll talk about it further, but that is that wage cap. We all know about that wage cap. We never break it. It's time to do that. You know what that means? It means that if you're committed to signing the 3 million bracket players with the quality you afford, that will recede every year. It recedes. You spend the same amount of money, but you get less for it more, if not more. That is decline, and it's because it's a deliberate policy. Managed decline fits perfectly. We've been told that Celtic is a well-run club, and it is. It's a well-run club, as I said earlier, as a business. But what does that actually mean? It means the books are balanced 100%. It means there's cash in the bank 100%. There's piles of it. We know about it. We often brag about it. It means the suits get their bonuses. The chairman gets to pose at the AGM in the knowledge that most of the crowd will applaud, and Wall gets a couple extra 100 yards on his heated driveway. But it doesn't mean football department is backed. It doesn't mean the vision. It doesn't mean there's progress. Because if there was progress, we wouldn't still be having the same conversation we've been having for years. Hell, some of us have been singing this song for more than the last decade. The Willow Flood window and the John McGinn saga were far apart, but they were points in the same continuum. The disaster 2 summers ago as well. This one's deja vu in HD. We're writing the next chapter right now. Why haven't we fixed the recruitment structure? Why is there still no director of football? We've reappointed 2 managers. We've hired the guy who was originally meant to be an assistant. We've re-signed players we've already sold. There's no freshness. There's no innovation. Just endless recycling, hoping that it works again. Yet, when we do break the pattern and we get in a good manager, we don't back them properly. We glimpse what could be. The tragedy is, and then we all tear it down. But the moment we start to dream, we revert to type. The players are sold one by one and never properly replaced. The trick of managed decline don't shut down the machine. You just keep it ticking, but you strip it for parts. You keep fans satisfied enough to revolt, but never satisfied enough to believe. And I love that point. I love the way that's put. As we say, well, we spent 30 million last season, but we could have spent more, and we know we could have spent more. Hell, in January, we could have spent a lot more, but we didn't. That's why Champions League is no longer a platform. It's just a payday. They don't enter to compete. They enter to collect. Let's see how far we can go. Has now become, let's not lose too much. Because when you underinvest and fail to build year upon year, you get exactly what we've had. Collapses, capitulations, group stage humiliations, or we fail to get there at all. Last year might have been the anomaly, but will we build on it? This is what we're here to talk about. And who's to blame? The board. Not the managers, not the players, the board. They've turned prudence into a fetish. They're terrified of overspending, afraid of ambition. Perhaps they don't trust themselves to make the big calls. Perhaps they don't know. These are not entrepreneurs. They're accountants, lawyers, careerists. They are, by nature, conservative. So they sit in the cash and they keep the wage bill down. They punt the projects. They hire managers that they can control. And they pray that the Ibrox club never gets its act together. But if it does, the scrutiny will be unbearable. That is not leadership. It is cowardice. Every window is the same dance. Big names linked to early. Manager talks positively, then silence, disappointment. The window closes and we're left signed a few unknowns. Maybe I made a tidy profit and left glaring holes all over the team. Exactly what we're talking about when we started, guys. The manager does a press conference with a fixed smile and talks about developing the squad. There's no ambition, no progress. They've got no governments. Not when you're sending tens of millions to HMRC where the manager plays patchwork. Not when you're sitting 70 million, your team's crying out for reinforcements. This is decline, and what's the worst part? It works for a while at least. You can still win league, sell out season tickets, keep the spin going until the day comes, until the club across the city finally do get it together and do get it right. Until one bad managerial appointment becomes unrecoverable and it was a spiral. Until fans start walking, until the cash pile starts to shrink, and by then it is too late. Managed decline doesn't end in disaster overnight. It's a slow motion collapse. It's a drift from where you were, what you might be. You forget what you've even wanted to aim higher. Europe becomes mortifying ritual. Midweek attendances drop. Hope dies by degrees. Celtic's decline isn't just coming, it's here and we're living in it. Yes, Rodgers in the dugout, Maeda still bombs down the left, we've still got McGregor, Carter Vickers in the back line, but for how much longer? McGregor's aging, Maeda's contract's unresolved. They'll punt if they get a chance. Carter Vickers, he's brilliant but brittle. There's some mishaps over this full-blown crisis. The next McGregor, the next Tierney, our academy system's failing. Has it failed? There's also an area where an apparent content to throw millions away. So there's one area where we're apparently content to throw millions away. The system is broken. People are running the club with no answers. This isn't just about gaps in the first team. Managed decline is systematic. It touches every single part of our club. These people aren't building Celtic. They're holding it together just barely. But our holding action becomes a retreat. And that's where we are now. The manager smiling through gritted teeth and promoting youth players who aren't ready, enter a season weaker than we ended at last season, with a fan base who are too tired and used to this to even dare to hope. That's the true tragedy. It's not just happening, but we're starting to accept it. So let's drink the Kool-Aid, let's get comfortable, enjoy the ride while it lasts. But if we stop demanding better, and this will be how the empire falls. Guys, I know that was very long. But as I say, I think it's an excellent piece, and I think all credit to the guys at the Celtic Board for writing that. I think it hits a nerve. I think it hits so many things that we've been talking about over the course of our existence as a podcast. Beyond our podcast, other podcasts have been talking about it. Now that you've all settled it, now you've heard it, now that I've maybe bored you to sleep with my poor narrative, Joe, hit me with it. Is this overreaction that's been written here? Or is it all valid points, mate?
It's a difficult one for me. There's some areas there that really, really hit a nerve. But there's other areas that speak out volumes, I think, as well. The way I see it is, it's like trying to teach a pensioner that contactless is okay. That's the way it feels talking to the board when you're saying, listen, it's okay, just go and spend a bit of money here and there and get this player. And, you had good links and good talks about this good name. Just do it. It's all right. On you go. It's safe. Don't worry about it. Oh, no. I'll just keep it, son. It's all right. Don't worry. I'll just keep it. That's the way it feels to me. And I'm sure it does to a lot of other people as well. The big thing in that really struck a nerve is when we're talking about the other side of Glasgow eventually getting their crap together. Yeah, for me, last season was actually a massive eye opener in going, listen, they're on their way. I'm not going to say they're on their way. I nearly said it. Right. Right. I nearly said it, but no, I used. I swear to God. Anyway, that to me was a massive eye opener. Right. We can no longer be satisfied with just, are we the best team in Scotland? You can't be satisfied with that. Why would we be? Why should we be? When 67 Lions absolutely demolished for to win the Champions League, and that's a badge of honour that we wear every game and sing about and love. We should be wanting and aiming for that every single time. It's not just about, I will get a wee bit of money in the door and everything like that. So I think that's where it really, really struck a nerve, and will do with a lot of people as well. I think it's a tough conversation, that, and for some people it will be difficult to hear, and not everyone will agree with it. I would say about 70% of that statement I agree with. The other 30 is just where I found it a wee bit too tight, a wee bit too close.
Well, Paddy, what do you think? Where does it sit with you? Is it sensationalism? Is it, it's close season, let's cause drama, let's roll a grenade into the room, let's cause, uproar? Or, as I say, is it a well-constructed, well-thought-out piece by guys that are putting out some really, really, really good content? And yes, some of it you might not agree with it.
Yeah.
But the one thing that, for me at least, underpins it all is nothing by large that has been said there is untrue.
No.
We're ran phenomenally as a business. We are. But we never evolve. We never evolve in the way that we do things. And the one time that we did deviate, the one time that we did do something out the box when we got in Dom Mackay, it didn't last that long. And the guy ended up, I believe, signing a non-disclosure. What happened there? Now, we can surmise, and one day hopefully that will be something that finds out. But remember, he came in and we bought quite a few players, and it was like Juranovic and stuff. And I maybe seemed a bit overpriced at the time, but went and bought it. And there was this idea amongst the fan base from the outside looking in was, this guy's going to end up falling out with him. He's expending money, he's writing checks. And it was funny because we then went to a guy who, just for a CEO, just happened to be the best guy for the job that was already in the house. And all right, we praised Nicholson a wee bit, Paddy, but nothing really changed with a slow drip of, there's a wee bit to keep you sweet. And then with one hand it goes, there's the other hand, and it takes away. I feel that's what that's hitting. It's stating the obvious, where we are always just staying one step ahead, Paddy.
Yeah, listen, I think it is going to divide opinion among Celtic fans. It really is. I think it's a extremely well-written article. The guys have obviously done their research into it. They've looked at it over and over again. I think if you go back to times with Fergus McCann and things like that, when we changed the full structure and stuff, the ramifications of that are going to continue. It's going to keep going and going and going. It's like Joe said, comparing the thing to an old woman using contactless there. It's like the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and expecting different results. And if you keep doing the same thing, that's not going to happen. You do need the change. And when Don Mackay came in and he made that change, Celtic fans were like, oh, what's going on? This is brilliant. We've actually went out and made signings before our Champions League qualifier here. Now, we spoke about that previously, Stevo. Celtic going into a qualifier there, if we fail to qualify for the Champions League, we'll sell a big asset. We'll sell one of our main assets. We'll sell Hatate.
Well, I mean, you could argue, jump in. Have we done it already, Paddy?
Yeah.
Have we done it already?
Yeah, of course we have.
But would we sell another? Is that what you're getting at?
No, we sell another.
One to come.
If we don't qualify for the Champions League, this season, Hatate, Engels, or another that's going to bring us over 20 million or 15 million, say roughly, is gone. In my opinion, that's what Celtic do. So things like this, I think, is an eye-opener for the fans. It's something that, listen, we're not going to get on that stage again. We're going to be singing "Sack the Board" and things like that. I think, like you commented on, Stevo, Celtic is a very, very well-run business.
Yeah.
As a football club, you want to see a little bit more. We as fans want to see investment. We want to see deals done, not penny pinching, not holding back £750,000 and losing out on absolute superstars and guys that you could have got for that kind of money. We want players in the door, and we want to go. So Brendan to come out and say, "Sorry, we need a striker." Right, I want him. Right, no problem.
So see on that as well. Do you think? Because I know what I think personally. Do you think it's because the board are lining their pockets a bit extra as well?
Listen, they're a business. They're businessmen, like it says in that article. These guys aren't footballing men. These are accountants.
Can I jump in, Paddy? There's no doubt, whether we want to admit this or not, there is no doubt that guys like Wall, guys like Nicholson, Dermot Desmond, they are Celtic fans. Let's not rubbish off their credentials here.
Yeah.
But do you think they're maybe the guys that they've been so long in the job that you almost you go in there, bright-eyed and bleary and bushy-tailed and all that, and you want to make a change, and because let's be honest, Dermot Desmond revolutionised Celtic, right?
Yeah.
In his position over his time, he did. What happened is his feet get comfortable, his bank balance got fatter, and it started to be about protecting not only. There's no doubt in my mind, as hard as it is to take, that deep down in here, they have got the club's best interest at heart. Yeah. But I think they're going about it the wrong way. It's about, and I come back to look at what happened with COVID. Celtic didn't borrow a penny, not a single loan. Smart investment, smart savings got us out of COVID with a bloody nose. I think we're like 1 million under or something at the end of it, right? Amazing. Very few clubs could do that. But that's a freak, once in a lifetime situation. I don't know if, and I'll throw that out to you guys, do you think that, see what we did, that saved us, that COVID thing? We could have been shit street with that. Do you think that has contributed to their already existing apprehension to spend?
I don't think so. I think they've got a system in place, and the system's been working, and it continues to work. We're a very well-run club financially. Yes, the board of directors are raking in some money, and like you said, at the shareholders' events at the end of the year, Nicholson can stand up there and he's Tom Fords and go, "Yeah, guys, we've had a brilliant season. Do you know what I mean? Look at us. We've got so much in the bank." Yeah, that's all well and good. But the fans want investment, and we always will want investment, and that's what it's going to come down to. What we see on the pitch, we demand Celtic win every single week. We don't ask for wins. Celtic fans expect victory every single week. Do you know what I mean?
It's not that's just that. Like
Celtic's hot, heavy.
Celtic wasn't started. So no, you're good. It's me jumping in. Sorry.
No, but Celtic wasn't. Let it go.
Celtic wasn't started or founded upon, lining the manager's pockets or the owner's pockets or anything like that. So that's where it strikes me, and it really, really grinds my gears, if I'm being honest, because I feel that then they've lost the passion a bit. It's no longer about the football. It is just about the money for them. Now, I'm saying that I don't know them personally. No, none of us here do really. So we can't fully comment, and I'm not trying to say it to pee anyone off or anything like that, but that's the way it feels to me as a Celtic fan, and I'm sure it will to others as well, that it's a bit frightening that it feels that the money holdings, the keeping cash by for a rainy day, it wasn't for a rainy day. If they've all got 20 million sitting in the bank, it wasn't costing them half of that to keep Celtic going through.
Listen, let's get the elephant out of the room. Let's get the elephant out of the room, Joe, on that. There was the big Rangers fan conspiracy and everybody else that they were keeping it for the victims. Remember that? Yes, now, I'm glad that that's been resolved. That is phenomenal. That is great that is getting settled. Those people deserve that. And, I pray to God something like it never, ever happens again at any club, never mind Celtic. But it's been proven that is not the case. that was Fantasyland stuff. That was nonsense. It was never going to be the ruin of Celtic. It was never going to be the case.
It won't stop them mentioning it. It won't stop them mentioning it.
But my point is, we have moved past that now. That has been resolved. There's been settlements agreed. It's taken care of. So it comes back to it then. What is the money getting saved for then? What is the money getting saved for?
It's like you'd say, Steve, all right? COVID was a once in a lifetime, fingers crossed, once in a fucking generational thing here. And that could have ruined us, right? Paying out to these victims could have ruined us. But Celtic financially had the money sitting there. Now, I don't believe we've got a war chest sitting there of a just-in-case fund. Or what if Vladimir Putin presses the button and we need to have money left for it? Do you know what I mean? That's just... It's all nonsensical for me. It's all just... We're a business. We're ran very, very well. We've got money put aside. And as a fan, I would just like to see it invested. I would like to see...
Have the board guys... Have the board, as I say, come in, because they are still, where you want to call them that or not, they are still Celtic men.
Yeah.
But maybe the lines have now been blurred between passion for the club and their passion now is for it to thrive. But from a business standpoint or whatever, they've essentially became their role. They've been defined by their role, CEOs and money men, and that's what they are. But do you think that they've basically just outstayed their welcome? Have they lived and stuck around so long that they've seen themselves become the enemy, so to speak? Because, as I said, we tried to change Don Mackay. He was shaking that boat, and then we just happened to get in the guy that was already in the building.
Well, this is what I meant with my my pensioner comment, really, because I feel like they aimed to be a successful business at one point in time, and they went, oh, do you know what? That's worked really well, and we did win the league, and we won the cup, and etc. etc. Great. Right, well, let's just keep doing that then. Let's just stick to that, because clearly we know how to do that, so we'll stay that way. So like that, they're absolutely fine being at this level. When the fans want them to step it up a little bit, the fans want them to take it a bit further. We want to keep going, keep pushing, want to be challenging the best. Mm-hmm. It's not being here to take part, it's being here to take over. That's the point.
I know what you mean.
On that as well, though, right? Celtic go out there and spend 70 million this year.
No happening.
We might win a domestic
treble.
Lifetime
of yours.
Right, we might win a domestic treble, but does it mean we're going to go on and win the Champions League? Does it mean we're going to get to the quarterfinals, semi-finals of the Champions League? No,
of course.
Doesn't. No, it doesn't. No. That investment doesn't stipulate how well we're going to do. Mm-hmm. What we need is players in positions that we need. Does that make sense? Brendan says
Celtic. There was a saying that was put out there a while ago, and I agree with it. And it's much like you're saying there. Celtic are very much an analog ran club in a digital age.
Yeah.
We are, as you say, it's like your old mom da. You know, my da. That new controller, oh son, you're going to have to show me how to work that telly. It literally has buttons on it to tell you what to do. If he still asks me to fix it for him. Or I don't know how to work that phone. Like, what do you mean you don't? So I get what you mean. They're so stuck in their ways, and they keep doing the same things and expect the same returns. Unfortunately, as that article says, they have got the same returns, but it's always been a backdrop against complete and utter disaster across the road.
Yeah. And I agree with what you're saying there, Paddy. No, spending that kind of money doesn't guarantee that we're going to win the Champions League, etc. But what it does do is it opens the door for big name players, guys who are in the Premier League at the minute and stuff like that, who even in the next few years are maybe going to be winding down a bit, but they've still got the pace, they've still got a bit of hunger about them as well to come into your team for that bit more money, and who can absolutely demolish half of the Scotland squad of any team for any reason, for any length of time, even though they're on the wind down. And then the more that we do that, the bigger names that we get coming in the door, success begets success. It's as simple as that. So for me, I'm not saying go out and spend 70 million and things like that. Of course, I think that's ridiculously ambitious of us. But spend more. Just spend more. Get the bigger names hungry to come and play in Scotland. Because why not? Well, you can come here and run rings around everyone. Go for it, guys.
Speaking of money, guys. Speaking of money, I think it's a good segue. As I said, the Celtic blog got got a lot of responses. It got a lot of, the article got a lot of sort of heads talking. And there was one other one that came up here. Again, we're showing all the social media accounts. Go and check them out yourself, right? Is from Grand Old Team, and they want to talk finances. And they say, great article. This is so true. Most football clubs, even the so-called rich ones, rely on some degree of bank loans and investor funding to move ahead or even maintain their current level. Celtic hasn't taken a pound from the bank or an investor since 2005 share issue. 20 years, guys, 20 years. No Desmond, Law, etc. Funding all from supporters, commercial partners, media, and of course winning entry to Europe, so on. You won't find many European sides that can claim that. Heck, not any in Scotland can. Celtic's goal for the 25 to 26 season appears to be the same as most seasons. Finish 1 point above Rangers, and anything else is gravy. I think that's been the argument for a long time, guys, as fans, and this is the bit I want to get into because it's got a wee graphic about Celtic's money making. As for the latest club financials, in the interim and the annual, Celtic holds 77% of the total cash of the 4 senior divisions and 81% of the Prem cash. Being tops in Scotland should be an afterthought. Not complaining, I love the domestic trophy haul this century. I'd like to see a KO, a knockout stage win in Europe. Champions League round of 16. Is that really too much to ask with resources? And there's a beautiful wee graphic that shows you, if you can watch that on the telly, you can zoom in on that, and it just shows you how much money Celtic are pumping out. It just brings it home, doesn't it? We knew that Celtic were doing it, and this is the point. It's about wanting to do better. Now, one thing I want to put to you guys is, and you touched on this whole Champions League thing, do you think the fact that now, with the new format of the Champions League, I can't see why this would be negative, but I'm just putting it out there. As we well know, you'll get X million for a win. I think about $1 million for a draw. You qualify for the next round, more money, so on and so forth, yada, yada, yada. There's a lot of money to be made in that. However, it is just collecting bank. Celtic, and I'll be honest, my lifetime, or your guys, I don't even think, if I'm being honest with you, in my children's lifetime, Celtic will win the Champions League, right? Just do not see it. Could they win a European trophy, a Europa League? Yes, absolutely. There's no reason why. But see the fact that now we've got the new the Champions League format, one big table, that's it, no drop down, no fallbacks, so on and so forth. Do you think, guys, that changes our angle that we come at it? Because see if you went, right, priority is getting the Champions League, boys, we'll spend money, we'll get in there. See if we get through to the next, the last 16, brilliant. See if we don't, we drop down that Europa League, right, okay, we'll make a fist of it. See now that that's gone, and it's just Champions League, end of story. Does that change any level our desire to want to spend or not spend? Because literally they know that it starts and ends with the Champions League.
Yeah, I think it changes it in the perspective of making money. Obviously, Champions League's where your big dough is, and that's essentially where you want to be every single year. I want to be in the Champions League. I'm one of these guys. Yes, I agree with you, Stevo. We'll probably never ever in our lifetime see Celtic win a Champions League, as much as we'd absolutely love that. I do think we could win Europa Conference, something like that. We've seen our neighbours across the city, the Paddies, having a few good runs in the last 15 years. They've done really well in there. You just need to look at their coefficient points for that. So if we were in the lesser leagues, then I could see us doing slightly better. However, for me, you want to be dining at the big table. I believe that Celtic are the best team in Scotland and therefore deserve to be there. So for me, Champions League will always be the main goal.
What about yourself, Joe? Because what I want to say is there's no doubt that's what I want, Paddy. And I would be content. I would be set. Of course, listen, see if everybody can dream. I would love to win the Champions League, right? Who wouldn't? But I'm also very realistic that it's not going to happen, right? So what do I want as a fan looking at Europe? Well, I want a wee bit more of what we got last season. Can we improve our finishing in that league? Could we finish maybe halfway point, 15, between 15, 1 and 15? Could we improve on that? As a result, maybe get a more favourable draw. Of course, we know that the way it falls, it's just your Donald Duck. But could we get through that knockout stage? Could we get to the last 16? for me, that would be good, tangible success. And then if he says to me each year, you'll make the last 16, would I be happy with that? Yes, I probably would.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to win one of those last 16. I would love to. And I think that's as far as genuine I can realistically see us with our resources, and certainly with what our board might want to put into it, as being how far as we can go. But Joe, bringing it back home, the Champions League, Paddy says that's what it be. It is the money.
Yeah.
It's early yet. We don't want us to be all negative. I know you'll be like, oh, God, what have I been watching the past 50 odd minutes? But right, but when we bring it home, right, it is early. There's still a lot of time to spend. However, the league's round the corner. We've got a friendly against Sporting Lisbon, one against Newcastle. The quality's going to up. The league's going to start, and they'll get that Champions League qualifier, right? See, right now, you can understand why folk are worried, right? If this is us, what we're doing at this moment in time, not spending a lot or not appearing, we might do. Who knows? See tomorrow. We might go and spend 20 million. Probably won't happen, right? But we might. Just based on at this moment of time, Sunday, the 13th of July, this is Celtic gearing up for the new season in Europe.
Right.
See if Celtic didn't make that Champions League. Do you have any faith that they're going to go and actually spend money with a view of, well, let's make a crack at the Europa League, if that's what it's going to be?
No, I don't. Actually, I don't feel that's what they would do, because they would turn around and go, oh, well, we've got the quality enough of players. It's just that we didn't in that game. You know, we just didn't do well enough in the qualifiers, and we just need to have a look at the team and make sure that they gel back together. It would be excuse after excuse, which I think any team would make. Any team would make those kind of excuses for it, you know, because they wouldn't want to lose face, if you will. And they would give it a good crack at the Europa League. Fair enough, and I'm sure we'd do pretty damn well if our neighbours across the city have done so well.
Mm-hmm.
There would be absolutely no reason as to why we couldn't do the exact same or better. So that would, again, kind of fill us a little bit more of confidence. But we've all been saying for the past couple of years, when they have done so well in the Europa League, it's a Diddy Cup anyway. So we'd probably feel the same as well. We can't then say, oh, well, that's a great cup now, because
I would quite happily win that Diddy Cup. I'll tell you that right now.
Of course,
As would I.
And that's the point. And like, I get that. I totally get that. But yeah, as you say, Paddy, Champions League is where it's at. We do have quality enough players, some of them anyway, to do so, and to do pretty well. As Stevo said, if you can guarantee then for the next 10 plus years we'll get in the last 16.
I mean, just like the top that you're wearing, mate, that's the top we were wearing in the last final we were in.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, and here's the thing. It comes back to, remember a couple, I think it was about 2-3 seasons ago, and we had the chat, and it was Peter Law laid the cards out on the table. And I'm just paraphrasing, but he said words along the lines of saving money and expenditure. And for the seasons that we might not make the Champions League, it's inbuilt.
No faith.
It's inbuilt.
No faith.
It's as the article says, it's inbuilt. It's austerity. It's thinking. It's always thinking about that might not happen rather than that's going to happen. And it's like I said when I appeared on with Paul John Dykes on This Is Axom, we spoke about this, and I says I think Celtic should go for it for once at the front end, front load the players, get them in early, get them integrated during this, have them in for playing Newcastle. You know, if you could have had them in for playing against Sporting Lisbon, get them bedded in nice and early, hit the ground running with a view of, no, we will qualify for the Champions League. And do you know what? See if it goes wrong and you don't make it into Champions League. Yes, do you know what? You might not have enough, as much coin coming in, but you will have a far better chance at doing well in the Champions League, the Europa League, than you would have waiting to see what happens. Because if we wait and see what happens, if we didn't make it, we will do the bare minimum, and I will go into Europa League just thinking, let's see how this one pans out. Can you imagine you went and bought Balakwisha, Uriaseta, some of the named defenders we've had, another full-blown striker, an extra 4 or 5 quality, proper good quality players, and by some divine intervention, you didn't get past the Champions League qualifier. You went into that and went, well, do you know what? I feel all right now about the Europa League. What a good feeling that would be. And if you've done well on it, yeah, you might not claw back the same amount of money. But one thing we're great at investing in is the story and the buzz. So see if Celtic did go on a Rangers-esque run, we might not like using their name, but it's fact they've done it twice since the last time we done it. And They went and done it. See the tops, the merchandise, everything else. I tell you what, with our financial records from merchandise and all that kind of stuff, you wouldn't be far off it. You wouldn't be far off it. So tool up now. Whilst we're on it, guys, bringing in all the social media posts here. Too much things to bring in before we finish. Just want to touch on it. The coefficient of Celtic. How good is the coefficient of Celtic? Well, here it is. As you can see, we are seeded for our draw. Now, I'm sorry, guys, but when you look at this, the guys that are above us there, on points, Fenerbahce. Oh my God. We've got Copenhagen, Kredvard Vendra, Red Star, and you've got Bodo Glimt. Now, I'm sorry, right?
Yeah.
None of these teams have the resources that we've got. None of them.
No.
None of them have got the fan bases, the commercials, everything to go with it that we've got. Yet those teams always seem to perform better. Mm-hmm. Is it because they're better managed? Is it because they've got better tactics? Is it because they set up better? Or is it just that they maybe spend a wee bit more than they've got? Less than us, of course, this is the annoying part. Right, but did they maybe spend a bit better? Why is your coefficient lower than some of those teams like Red Star and Bodo? And like, what's going on there?
You look at their leagues are a bit more competitive than ours. Our league is essentially a two-horse race every single season. Yeah, Aberdeen had a bit last year where they tried to come at teams and whatever, but essentially we're playing against 10 men behind the ball every single week. And then you go to Europe, and if you're used to playing against 10 men behind the ball, you try and adapt your playing style that you've been doing all season, and it's totally different in the Champions League, and you get broke down simple. You make simple mistakes here and there and everywhere. These leagues are more competitive. Even a Hungarian league, like you mentioned, Ferencváros. Their stadium's incredible, by the way. Their stadium is an absolute nailer. If you haven't been there, please go visit it. It's absolutely outstanding, and they wear a lovely green and white top as well. They are in a competitive league. Copenhagen, predominantly competitive league. Bodo Glimt the same. I mean, Bodo Glimt are a relatively new side. They come out of nowhere. Remember they played.
Well, the thing is, Paddy, sorry to jump in. What I would say is bear in mind this is our individual coefficient. Now, the league coefficient would be helped by our teams that get into Europe winning some games and helping it, right? But this is Celtic's coefficient points based on all those appearances we've got. So, in my opinion, sorry to go against the grain what you're trying to say. I hope I've not misconstrued what you're saying. It shouldn't matter a jot how competitive their leagues are. I'm talking about just what we've amassed is our coefficient points in it. Yet they've done better with less.
But what I'm getting at is their style of football. If you're playing against 10 men behind the ball every single week, your style of your football's going to be garbage, basically, isn't it? And you're going to be getting into these games against, let's say, Borussia Dortmund. I know nobody wants to talk about them, but they totally dismantled us because we tried to play out from the back. We tried to do to them what we'd done to Ross County the weekend before. We beat Ross County 6-0. We're going into a game against Borussia Dortmund going, yes, we're going to do them. Look at what we just done to Ross County there. Do you know what I mean?
Ross County.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going in there and we're going, yeah, we totally dismantled them. Look at our front three. Look at the performance for them. That was absolutely brilliant. We went in against Dortmund and got annihilated because we set up to play against a team that's going to have 10 men behind the ball. And they didn't have 10 men behind the ball. They came at us and Adeyemi just tore us a new hoop. Yeah. It's as simple as that because you're not used to playing against guys that are coming at you all the time and that are your defenders aren't used to this sort of pressure.
That's fair crack. I suppose we could argue the point that maybe we should have adapted over the seasons, but it's just putting out there. And to finish up, I'll give you this one, Joe, on the coefficient. This, to bring it all home, talking about want to spend money, this here is exactly what we've been talking about, and this is exactly why Celtic need to start spending money right now. Yeah. Make sure everything's in place, bedded in, there can be no mistakes. I hate to bring it up. The dreaded 10 in a row season was a season where things couldn't afford to go wrong, and they did. Now, we know that there was multiples at play, off the field stuff, isolation, you name it, right? Falling outs, everything. But that was a season that went wrong. This is a season that can't go wrong, and here's why. And another account I want to give a shout out to is, again, Juco James. Now, you might not like Juco James, right? But, as I always say, if people are putting their time and effort into doing these things, you've got to respect them. And now, he's talking about coefficient, and he quotes, again, go and search this one out, Scotland's coefficient, how the UEFA rankings will look at the start of the new season. Go and seek this out. It is another very informative article. And Juco summarises it. It says, this is hugely important variable as we look towards the 25-26. Rangers hold a big strategic advantage that incentives, basically. It's an incentive for new owners to prioritise winning the league, as there should be, as always with us, to win the league, right? But more so for Rangers. This is why it should be their biggest incentive to go and win the league. So far, Celtic are not acting with a consummate urgency. Excellent Substack, subscribe. So he talks about it. Boys View asks the question, again, another guy who polarises folk, but I think he still puts out some good points as well. He's basically asked, so what does this mean? Do they have less qualifiers if they were in the league? He says, no, due to their club-specific, I brought up our club-specific coefficient and the new rules that are in place with the Champions League starting last season, they would likely get direct qualification into the Champions League so long as the winner of the competition would qualify via their league position. We would have to face qualifiers. So in other words, see those countries that get 4 and 5 entrants for the start, right?
Aye.
And they're going to be probably the same 4 or 5 teams at the end of the season. See if one of them were to go and win it, i.e. Bayern Munich won it, Barcelona won it, you know, Real Madrid won it, Man City, I don't like Man City made the Champions League, right? But basically, if one of the teams that were going to qualify for it in the next season were to win it, Rangers could get direct entry because their coefficient over the past period is much higher than ours. Now, see if that lingering over you isn't enough of a shot in the arm, you know, shit your pants stuff, to put it very bluntly.
No, that's it. What is Joe? It's frightening the out of Celtic Board at the minute, and that should be the boot up the backside that they need to go out there and spend the money and get, you know, a decent return for our players, as we've been speaking about the full time. And I'm really sorry to everyone, by the way. This has probably seemed like a really, really negative kind of absolute bashing or anything like that today, sorry. But it's not about that. It's about what you guys think as well as us. You know, we're giving our opinions here. We've agreed and disagreed with each other as we've been going on as well. That's the whole point. We're having a conversation about it. And these are the real facts. We give it as they come out, when they come out, and that's what we're trying to do, is give you all the information as well and where we see it sitting. If that were to happen, as you say, that Rangers, because of their coefficient is so much higher, that frightens the life out of me. Makes me sweat behind the knees, if you get me, because it should be doing the exact same, if not worse, to the board and to Celtic in general as well, as I'm sure it does with you guys.
What about yourself, Paddy? I've often said that Celtic are reactionary, and that usually we react to egos getting bruised. I kind of thought, to be honest, that losing the cup final to Aberdeen would have been something that shook the tree, that, you know, peed off the board as well as the manager and the players to say, well, that was quite embarrassing. How did that happen? And go and deal with it accordingly. As I say, in as early stages, we don't want to say it's never going to happen and this is it, you know, burn it all down, this is terrible, we're never going to win the league, Rangers are going to win everything, we're not going to even make Europe. No, we're not saying that. And as Joe says, I know it can come across a bit negative. It can, because everything we've spoken about has largely been quite negative factors, but I think people sometimes misconstrue that. We're talking or moaning about things not because we want to be controversial, not because it's what we want, but it's because, like anybody that's putting out these posts, that's doing these, you know, analysis and sharing it and doing podcasts, whatever they're talking about, there's a desire for our club to do well. and we're just so desperate for the people, the custodians of our club, to do what's right by the manager and the fans, and ultimately produce on the pitch. And I think it's safe to say that, yes, domestic success has to an extent masked over various cracks and deficiencies. And it's also given, I'll use the term, happy clappers, where as soon as we say something negative, as soon as we do something like this, you're just buying into all that negativity.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think you've got to demist, you've got to defog everything, take off the glasses and look at it and say, are we following through on our promises? Are we acting like we want to be, as we said, best in class in all walks of our football operation? Paddy, are we shaping up to be?
I'm kind of with you and a little bit with that. I want the board to be proactive rather than reactive. That's what we all want. We want them to go out there and get the money out there before we need it. Like you said before, Stevo, pump the money in, get the signings in before the Champions League starts, rather than wait till after it to bring players in. I just feel like the money is there. It's dangling a carrot in front of your fans, isn't it? We know the money's there. We know everything's there to be spent. I would just like the board to be more proactive. Just go out there and invest in the club. You said before, the Celtic fans. I'm a Celtic fan. If I had that money, if I had that power, there would be no issue. There would be no...
Paddy would be spending on name checks.
I'm the Celtic da. I'm the boy.
As he already does, by the way.
Well, that's it. Listen, you work hard for it. I just feel like the money's there. Why not go out? Why not invest it? Let's put the final nail in the coffin.
So, Joe, I'm going to cheer you all up. We're going to finish on a happy note. Yes. So, reports have just come out there. As we say, Sunday, 13th of July. Late on, time here, our time recordings, roughly about 10:30. Before we came on, there was various articles floating about that Mr. Rodgers is going to be having a wee sit down with the powers that be. The Monopoly man and his cohorts are going to sit down. They're going to thrash out everything that Celtic need. And one of those things is going to be, apparently, the future of Brendan Rodgers. I think that's something that we definitely nailed down. And another side note, the ever-long chasing of this man here, Michalange Balikwisha, is apparently all but done. I take that with a pinch of salt because he's been on for so long.
I take it with a scoop of salt.
But on the positivity note, Brendan Rodgers committing his future and laying out the table, I think that'd be massive.
Yes.
Do you think that is ultimately going to dictate how this window pans out for us?
I do 100%, yeah. I think that contract extension should be the first topic of conversation. That Brendan's done great thing for us both before and now. I think there's no reason for him to try and move on. I don't think he's even looking to move on either, because I think to myself it kind of scared him a wee bit going away the last time, and really kind of sank the nail into the coffin a bit as well for his future career, maybe in Premier League and things like that. Because I don't think there'd be many clubs who'd be crying out for him after that. But if we can offer him the right contract to stay on for another few years, maybe, I'd be happy with that.
Paddy, send us home, mate. We go over that result. Does Shin Yamada and Balikwisha coming on, if that happens in the next week, does that soften the blow any?
Shin Yamada, I feel like this endorsement of the Japanese league is just going away for me. This is just the young boy we've brought in at left back's been absolutely fantastic, but Shin Yamada is one of these guys that I've looked at the stats, I've looked at the previous performances over the last few years, and he doesn't really fill me with desire. Balikwisha.
What was your thoughts though? Did you see the article that the Rangers review, I think it was, or basically it was a Rangers scouting page ran December last year, and they'd done a breakdown on players that would be fantastic signings, and Shin Yamada was one, a very long and detailed bit about him, and the actual wording was that they would be a fantastic addition to any team as a striker.
All right. No, I didn't see that. We know what their recruiting is like for strikers, and it's no, let's just go back to like Dessers, Morelos, Danilo.
They score a lot of goals, mate.
Yeah.
They do.
Morelos didn't.
Aye.
Well, he did, didn't he? I mean, let's be honest, he still scored enough.
Me fat boy. Aye, listen, Shin Yamada for me doesn't fill me with all the excitement that it should. I think the Japanese market's been abused here, isn't it? It's one of the markets that we just seem to keep going back to and back to. Yes, we've had success from it, but we've also obviously had a few not so much successes.
Well, we've took all the best out of it. That's the point, isn't it?
Ideguchi, Iwata, guys like that. Do you know what I mean? Kobayashi. Some of these signings haven't really set the heather on fire, but Balikwisha is one that I quite like the sound of. Forward thinking, attacking minded. We do need somebody on that wing. It's a position that we want to fill. So that's one that I hope we do get across the line. I've seen a few articles now saying that it's pretty much done and dusted. So I'd like to see that be pushed out there before the Sporting game, get him in and see what he's got.
Hope for the best. Well, guys, listen, it's been long. I'm sure it's been exhausting at points there for you. A lot of information get thrown about. But as I say, I just wanted us to talk about something a wee bit different because, it's always going to be the same every summer, isn't it? There's going to be fans that have got from start to finish, keep the faith. It's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of people that are sitting very much on the fence, and there's going to be a lot of people who have been worn down over the years by varying degrees and levels of disappointment. But I think the one thing that we can all say is that we all genuinely want the best. Whether you're moaning or whether you are blindly behind everything that the club do, you've got that opinion because you want the best for it. And that's one thing that we should never lose sight of. We're all Celtic supporters. We're all pulling for the same direction. Some of us just vocalise and go about our things in a different way. So hopefully, those talks, if the manager's going to be having with the powers that be, are positive. I would love a Brendan announcement. I think something like that, even if it was a year's extension or something like that. You know, I know it sounds daft because I'm going to give with one hand, take away with the other. See if it was just protecting our assets and he was signing a wee contract, but he was maybe going to leave at the end of the season. I'm kind of all right with that because I just think we need the security for this point of the season. I think that's important. I don't think there should be any deception. I think we need to know one way or another from the manager exactly where it's going to be. I would still have my reservations that if the manager decides that he's going to leave and that's 100% known, it's a balancing act. It could go one way or the other. Everybody could buy in what to send the manager off to the best, or they could go, well, he's leaving us, he's getting up and leaving sticks. I don't know. But anyway, guys, thanks for joining me. It's now getting late. I'm sure you got a million and one things you could be doing with it. Thanks everybody for joining us. Obviously, it's a pre-recorded, so whatever time you are watching this, thank you very much. Get your comments down below. What did you think of that article? What did you think of the things that we brought up? Where are you at with Celtic so far this summer? Are you worried or have you got the faith? Are we going to get those players in and are we going to do what's needed for domestic success and, of course, more importantly, getting through to that European Champions League? Guys, thank you very much. Take care of yourselves, and Paddy,
as always, hail, hail.
See you all later. Take care. God bless.